Supply chain network design. Smoother than a fresh jar of Jiffy. This is Mark Spielis at Central Michigan University. This is Marketing 432 Logistics Strategy. Today, we're going to cover the second part of a two-part series on network design. This is session 24. So key factors influencing supply chain network design. Your books are referred to a number of them. These are the key factors that are influencing supply chain design today. Strategic factors, technology, exchange rates, and then lastly, transportation costs. I'm going to detail each one of these. Strategic factors, regardless of what element of the supply chain we're looking at, we continue to go back to the competitive strategy. Does the design of the network support the competitive strategy? So some competitive strategies are going to include the following: customer responsiveness. Amazon's a great example of that. They have built a network to respond to customer demands. Secondly, customer access, the location. Caterpillar, they design their network around their demands of their customers and then being able to support service after the sale, being able to provide aftermarket service to their customers. Low-cost providers would be another competitive strategy, and you see a lot of that going on with price competitiveness today. Or possibly it could be a response to a competitor. Any one of those three could be an action that was taken to respond to a competitor. Let's take an example here. Spanish apparel manufacturer Zara. And Zara has opted to produce in Europe. Europe is not a low-cost producing country. However, they choose to do this to be responsive to changing fashion styles in Europe. So this is a part of their strategy. One example of production technology, and view this is how can we improve production through technology to support the strategy. And one example of this is Coca-Cola bottling, and it's enabled Coca-Cola to expand into Somali. And using their techniques of creating bottling facilities, it enables Coca-Cola to do local sourcing, bottling per se, and then reduce transportation costs. It allows Coca-Cola to also be a global provider, a global source. Another example of this could be manufacturing, how manufacturing investments in the U.S., they help to mitigate, they don't take away the labor costs, and they also mitigate the transportation costs that are created as a result of offshoring. You hear this referred to now in many of the UAW negotiations that are going on today. UAW is focusing more on investment in the U.S. and investing to help keep jobs in the United States. Another factor is the exchange rate. So when we look at the exchange rate, an example of this, of the exchange rate, is the value in the currency. And as the value of the currency increases in the country where a product is manufactured, that cost is now higher in other countries. So that cost increases. And with globalization today, many manufacturers are located throughout the world. And one example of this is Procter & Gamble. And they're located throughout the world. They produce and distribute their products globally. And just as a result of currency impact, they're seeing a large impact on their profitability. And just as an example, the decline in the Russian ruble has taken almost $500 million off their annual profit, $550 million. So the exchange rate does make a difference. Where you locate your network, your supply chain network, does make a difference, and it helps to offset the exchange rate. Lastly, freight and fuel costs, transportation costs. And so the effect on strategy would be the fact that companies are focusing more on freight and fuel costs, not necessarily because costs are higher. Transport costs are getting higher, and as we all know, fuel costs are getting lower. However, there's a lot of volatility today. Whether its price decreases or increases, it is a non-stable market. So companies are looking to come up with low-cost transportation solutions. And so their strategies, their network strategies reflect that. They reflect a low transportation cost solution. So 3 transport-driven shifts in the supply chain are becoming more popular today. The first is a shift from offshoring, shoring over in China or perhaps India, to more nearshoring, okay? And we're seeing that in Mexico. We're seeing a lot of manufacturing, not necessarily all automotive, moving to back from China to Mexico. Secondly, a shift in product design, and today products are being designed more for shippability. Is that even a word? Okay, shippability of designing a product so you can reduce transportation costs. And that's both on the design of the product as well as packaging. Then lastly, a shift from these lean inventory policies to a hybrid. Sometimes the lean inventory policies drive additional transportation costs. And so this hybrid lean inventory policy may reflect as well on your strategy, on your network strategy. This concludes part 2 of 2 of network design decisions. As always, if you have questions, feel free to reach out to me in class, and we'll discuss this further in class. Thank you.